to tonight's Habits of Health webinar. We're super excited to have those of you who are here joining us after a wonderful 4th of July. We hope you enjoyed your holiday. And I want to know, well, and I can't see the chat, so we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. I want to know who's here, where you're from, how yesterday went, if you're on, what plan you're on, how you're doing. There is a phone dial in. TSFL training, I'll send that. Awesome. Hi, everyone. So glad to have you all here.
We're John and Kat Fuller.
We're John and Kat Fuller. Sorry. We've been with Take Shape for Life. Gosh, it's been 5 years
as clients.
In September, it was when we started as clients, and we were, kind of clueless, didn't know what we were doing, but just super excited about the future. And here we are 5 years later, and we love sharing help with people and hope. And we hope that we can help you tonight to have some fun with your program and all these holidays that we're facing this year. It's going to be, it's a great summer so far for us. We're excited about our company's national convention in 2.5 weeks. And we hope that a lot of you are coming. We'd love to see you there, whether you're a client or coach, or you're just interested. We would love to see you there. So, well, welcome everyone. We would love to get going. So it's like a party all year with life, right? Everybody parties with food all the time. We joke about the summer. It's a party, there's the holiday season in the winter, and then there's this party all summer. So we want to talk tonight about thriving through the summer celebration and parties. And we want to give you guys some really awesome strategies to stick with your program and to reach your goals and even go beyond that into optimizing your health. So we will just get going. The first thing we want to talk about today is the power of decision. And it's really quite interesting how powerful the power of decision is. It gives you the capacity to get past any excuse to change any and every part of your life in an instant. Tony Robbins said that, and I believe that 100%. We have such a strong power. We're the only living creatures that have that power of decision. And as we think about our own decision, it's really not about willpower. It's not about emotion. It's not about, oh my gosh, you guys must be so strong and so good. It's not about that. It's about deciding. So what do you really want?
That's a question that you want to ask yourself a lot, right? What do I really want? What is my why? Because if we're just trying to go off of willpower alone, it's never going to work. We need to have a really solid why, have a real desire for whatever we do. So, I think I don't know if any of you know Tony Robbins. He's one of my personal favorites. That's why we use the quote. But something that he talks about a lot, and I've heard Dr. Ray say it too. So a lot of great people are asking this question: what are the stories you're telling yourself? What are all of the things that you're saying to yourself that hold you back? I am this way because that's just how I always am, right? I'm this way because I grew up a military brat, and that's just how I am, and I can never change it. Well, I am a military brat, and maybe there are some characteristics that I inherited from that, but that doesn't mean that's how it has to always be for me. So,
and I love that. I've seen Dr. A do this with people as people say, well, I'm this and I want to be more of that. And he says, well, then change. And it's really that simple. Like, well, but I'm this, I've always been this. And he's like, but that's just the story you're telling yourself. And that's so powerful to think about what stories we're telling ourselves. I've always been overweight. I've always gotten to a certain point and then I fail, or I'm just not strong enough.
Or whenever I go to family parties, I always have to eat this food, or I always have to partake in this family tradition, or I always have to do this or that. Okay. And so what the reality is, you are the author of your own life.
Yep. So this isn't a pep talk where you have to convince yourself that you have some deep well of discipline or that you have to transform into some sort of superhero. There's all these superhero movies in the summer. So we always think we have to be a superhero to stay on our health plan and successfully socialize with your friends. You don't have to be a superhero. This isn't about self-belief. It just comes down to a series of choices. With the right preparation, you can take them one at a time and come out on the other side stronger with awesome habits of health.
And you can make that change today. Whatever you want to make your life look like can start absolutely 100% today. It doesn't have to wait till tomorrow, next week, next year, whatever. Okay, so we're going to talk about some real strategies today. We're going to be talking about stop, challenge, choose. We're going to be talking about planning ahead, using the buddy system, reaching out to your family for help and support, and something that sounds kind of funny for some people, I'm sure, indulging in moderation.
Okay, so with Stop, Challenge, Choose, a lot of you hopefully are familiar with Dr. A's curriculum that we use with his habits of health, and the Stop, Challenge, Choose is such a powerful principle. This is something that I have really grasped onto with my own health, and I'm helping with, it helps with other things besides just health. It helps with life. It helps with kids. It helps when you're in an argument. It helps with the difference between reacting and responding. So think about the difference between a reaction and a response. Are you a reactor or a responder? Reactions are just quick and usually full of emotion. Response is thought out and patient. And we talk about it within our health coaching culture about it being above the line and that we want to play above the line. So are you a reactor or are you a responder? And it's a habit that you can change. Like John said, you can start right now that I'm not going to be a reactor anymore. I'm going to stop and take a second. So this is kind of cool. We found an article that Dr. A wrote recently about Stop, Challenge, Choose. He said, one of the most exciting things about the habits of health system has been seeing more and more research confirm what we established long ago from early medical insights and years of field testing. When we identified that habits were one of the most overlooked areas of health, those small unconscious behaviors that lead to mountains of healthy choices over time, we quickly learned that one of the keys to turning a habit of disease into a habit of health was time. Because habits are automatic behaviors, we had to find ways to help people step back and look at the situation in front of them and the choices they were about to make. If there's no pause, even a few seconds of reflection, then with the choices people are about to make, then the old habit of disease would take over. So this is why Dr. A established and developed Stop, Challenge, Choose, and why we emphasize practices like mindfulness, meditation, and journaling to encourage reflection. If you practice putting time between you and a choice, you are more likely to make a healthier choice and make it more consistently. So there's even more new research to back this up, which I think is so cool. Brad Appelhans, he's an associate professor of preventative medicine at Rush University, and he developed a vending machine that forced customers to wait 25 seconds to get an unhealthy snack. If the customer selected a healthy snack, it was released instantly, no delay. Okay, so the clever part of this experience is the signage that tells customers about the potential delay. It was sometimes enough to nudge the customers into thinking about what kind of snack they really want. So the results are funny, and you might think, oh, that's not much, but there was they were 5% more likely to select a healthier snack just from reading the sign. 5% might not sound like much, right? Like, yeah, 5% is 95% less. But these are largely individuals who haven't awakened their intrinsic desire to create optimal well-being. This is just people who are just buying things. These aren't necessarily people who are thinking about their thoughts or thinking about their health. And they just
walk by and stumble across a vending machine and go, oh, hey, healthy. Whoa, okay.
Oh, wait, cool. So when you combine the desire with proven tools and strategies and making habits of health happen, then transformation occurs. And that's what Stop, Challenge, Choose is all about. So just a quick exercise. When you feel like there's a choice to be made, when you feel tempted, when you see that brownie or whatever, my sister makes mint brownies every 4th of July, and I love chocolate and mint. And I always stop and I look and I think, stop, okay, stop, take a deep breath. relax, challenge. Okay, so if I eat that brownie, what will happen? Now I'm in optimization phase. I've reached my goal weight and been there for 4.5 years. But you know, how will I feel? I might feel a little sluggish. I might have a little sugar rush and kind of get sick because a lot of sugar makes me sick. I might really enjoy it. I don't know. So I'm challenging. I'm thinking, choice, right? Yeah. I'm thinking about it. And then I make a choice. And I love what John always says about choosing. So share with us your wisdom and choices.
I always just tell people, you know what? There's no cheats. There's all choices. So anytime in life, if you think about it, right, the action, the physical action might be the exact same, right? There's a cupcake. I'm eating that cupcake. If I choose to eat that cupcake, I gain strength and I go about my life and yummy, done. If I cheat and eat that cupcake, my cortisol levels spike, my stress spikes. There might be guilt, shame, frustration, all of these things. And it immediately goes from a sense of, hey, I'm doing great to, hey, I'm doing horrible. You might even end up eating 5 cupcakes instead of just 1 cupcake because you didn't own that choice. And we have a little sweet guy over here that is just enjoying us as well. So sorry about that.
We have kids. We do this a lot.
This is real life. So I am going to let Kat take the next slide and handle this. And I apologize about that.
Oh, we love being mom and dad. Our little boy knocked his little foot on the side of the pool today. So here we go. Anyway, yeah, and I love what John says about no cheats, just choices. And life is really just a series of choices, right? So, whoa, did I skip ahead? Okay, there we go. We're on the next one. Plan ahead. So traditions, right? Like we all have them. You know, where my brother makes the most amazing meals on things. He makes the most amazing meals on holidays. He loves cooking. It's like his love language is cooking. And some of it's really healthy and delicious and amazing. And some of it's not. He's not a baker. But anyway, we have the same traditions, right? So I know, like, on the 4th of July, my brother's going to make a huge brisket. And it's probably going to be really high in fat. And he's going to put yummy, sugary barbecue sauce all over it. Sometimes he doesn't, but you know, there's going to be a few different options and I know what's going to be there, right? And you know where you're going. Most of the time, it's not a surprise with holidays and celebrations. So we know where you're going. You know what you're going to be eating. So just plan ahead. This is such a powerful strategy with life. It's just thinking ahead. Like even if you're just going out to eat for dinner, here, John's back. So hey.
Real life.
Yep. I love it. Thank you for all your understanding. You guys rock. So anyway, planning ahead, even if you're going out to eat, look at the menu of where you're going and pick your food before. We have clients, in fact, right before this call started, we had a client who texted us and said, you know what? I'm going to this really fancy restaurant for work tonight.
How many courses?
And it's like a 4 or 5 course dinner. And they said, what would you order? And here's the menu. Here's the whole menu. So we went through that menu as fast as we could and said, you know, here's this, I would do this, I would do that. And it's just so powerful to know what you're facing. So a half hour of planning, think about a half hour of planning ahead can save you and your healthy goals. So do you want to talk about triggers?
I feel a little bit lost here for a moment and I apologize, keeping it real still, but you guys understand your triggers, right? If you put yourself in a scenario where, you know, hey, if your trigger is soda, choose beforehand not to walk into the gas station where you might buy that soda, or stay away from the soda aisle at the grocery store. Just things like that. If you know that, you know, one of my triggers is at the end of the day, I get really stressed out at work and my work is so stressful. Krispy Kreme. Somebody said, I love that, right? Don't go buy Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, when the hot now sign is on, just don't drive by.
Change your route that you drive. Sincerely, if at the end of your workday you come home and you used to sit on the couch and you used to, you know, eat tons of calories after the kids were in bed or whatever.
That was us, by the way.
That was us. Change it. Change that up a little bit and think about it a little time. Go, okay, this is my trigger. What can I do differently?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this. You see kindergarten decisions there. So when I was little, my mom and I talked about the things that I was going to be as an adult and what I wanted to do as I was growing up, like the things that were important to me. She was very, she was like that. Like we talk about the future all the time. And she called them kindergarten decisions. And I thought, that's a really powerful thought. So for example, kindergarten decisions, right? So as a kindergartner, I remember learning about drugs and alcohol and all kinds of things. And I decided as a 5-year-old, I'm never going to smoke. I don't actually drink alcohol. And I decided way back then, no shame for anyone who does, I don't care. But for me, if I'm faced with those things, if I'm out with friends and they're having a glass of wine and they're like, hey, do you want, I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need it. Make those kinds of decisions with your health. When you're young, this little kindergartner in your program, if you have been doing this for a while, or if you've been doing it for a day, or you haven't even started yet, then take time to make the decisions that are going to set the pace and the course for your entire health and your future. Think about something in your life that you're 100% committed to. Maybe it's your marriage, or maybe it's beliefs you hold, or something like, for me, being a good mom. Like, I really just want to be a good mom. And just think of anything you feel super strong about. How easy is it to stay true to that decision? So where does your decision for living a healthier life stand? Have you decided, or are you kind of wavering? Do you know? It's time. So make those decisions, and it's so much easier to stick to them later and not be tempted in the moment.
And I love the eat healthy beforehand. I mean, you guys, look, we've all been to events where there's tons of food everywhere. If you eat healthy before you go, you're not going to be that hungry. And no one ever really checks up on you. If you carry a glass of water around the whole entire event, no one's going to check up on you and be like, hey, did you eat everything that you wanted? And even if they do, yeah, I'm fine. I've had plenty. Great. Thanks. No one's going to ask any questions. No one's going to expect anything different. But just go ahead of time and eat. So
use the buddy system. So if you ever think about, if you have someone doing something with you, it's a lot easier. I remember when I first started the program, I came home from playing volleyball with my friend, who's my coach, and Amber Smithson. Some of you might know her. Shout out to her. Anyway, I came home and I told John, I need to do this program. I've got to feel better. I'm done. I'm done dieting. I just need to change some things. And I'm going to do this for a month. And he said, sign me up too. And at first I was like, gosh, this is my thing. Like, I don't want to share this. You're going to get healthy anyway, because I'm going to be healthier. And I promise, like, one day in, I was so grateful that I had a buddy, that I had someone to do this with, and that I wasn't alone, and that I could talk to somebody and say, hey, how are you feeling today? Hey, what are you planning on eating? What would you like for dinner? And where should we go for dinner? And I never had anyone who was, I felt like was sabotaging me or trying to get me to cheat, And so we say, and a lot of people have said this, I don't know who was the first, so I didn't attribute it to anyone, but you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. So look at the people around you and think about the health they have, and how are they? Like, where do they prioritize their health? And where do you prioritize your health? And, maybe if it doesn't jive, then talk to them.
Talk to them and feel free to invite them to join you. If they're not healthy, invite them to join you. And if they won't join you, then for a little while, it might not be your best interest to hang out with them quite as much. And I'm not trying to be rude or mean or
no, but
whatever.
Maybe it's time to step away a little bit and focus on the things that are most important to you. So I see people saying, I'm trying to talk my husband into joining me. And it's true. Sometimes people aren't ready at the same time. We were lucky. And we're so blessed that we got to do this together. But have patience, have grace with yourself and with your significant others. But, find people that want to be healthy with you. So that's what this buddy system thing is about.
And you can't make people do something that you don't, you can't make people do things. So definitely before you go to an event, talk to somebody about setting up maybe a buzzword or hot word, something that you guys can work out together, to where if you're at an event and you need some extra support, then they know to support you in that moment. If the cupcakes are just overwhelming and you go with a family member, a friend, just say, hey, you know what, too hot for me. I got to get out of here. And they'll be like, oh, okay, the cupcakes aren't jiving right now.
Right.
This person's about to eat the cupcakes. So And then also know that you can reach out to your health coach. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've gotten from clients that are at a birthday party when it's time for the cake and they're sitting on the toilet, true story, sitting in the bathroom on the toilet, not using it, but just on the phone with me getting help so that they aren't wanting to go have that piece of cake, or they're not wanting to go take part in that.
Yep. So reach out to your family for help too. How many of you have, a few Granny's cookies won't hurt your health goals, honey. Oh, come on, eat your stuff. Just have one. You only get these once a year, whatever. We have those, and we have people in our family who tease us about being health coaches and, oh, wow, look at you. Are you going to eat that? Really, just let your family know what you're creating and that you want their support. Nobody cares. Nobody cares as much as you think they care about what you're eating.
So true.
And I always say this, is if you feel really worried about what other people think about you, I promise you, they're probably not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And if people feel uncomfortable around you because you're getting healthy, guess what? Maybe they need to make some changes. So be a support and be that kind person to be there for them so that they can feel better. Maybe they're not ready, but be there for them.
And if you're at that party and somebody says, hey, try some of Grandma's cookies. You know what? I've tasted those. Those are great.
Yeah.
I tasted them 2 years ago. I tasted them last year. I've tasted them every year up until this year, and they tasted great every year, but I'm not eating them this year because it's not helping me in my health goals.
Right.
Now, maybe next year when I'm at where I feel like is my healthy spot and I can choose to eat one of those cookies at that point, that's great. But that's something that I'll do later, and that's okay. Or say to them, I'll have that later.
I'll have some later. Simple. And another thing I totally do at parties, and this is just one of my tricks. If you know me and you see me walking around a party, I carry around a plate. And I put stuff on that plate, and I never eat it. A lot of it. And a lot of it's like, oh, Kat, what did you think of this? Well, I'm sure it was fantastic. Or it was fantastic. Oh, I haven't tried it yet. And nobody cares. And if they stand there and go, taste it right now, then I'll explain to them, really, I'm not really sure I want to eat this right now. But it's not really, they don't care. They don't care.
You guys, keep it positive and light and fun, because I'm here to tell you that this is a good, positive energy that you can put out to change your own life and help positively affect some people around you as well.
So indulging in moderation. So one cookie or drink will not destroy your health. Okay, the vast majority of our taste satiation or satisfaction comes, like 95% of it comes from the first few bites. So if you have a hankering for something sweet, salty, creamy, super dense energy-wise, or full of high glycemic carbs, don't just push the feeling away. Grab a teaspoon and take a bite. Just one. Now, if you're the kind of person you're like, if I take one bite, I'm toast. Think about, is that just a story I'm telling myself? Or if you really do have issues with that, which some of us do, then just step away. But
Stop, challenge,
taste it one time and then wait a few minutes and ask yourself, am I satisfied? And you can repeat 3 teaspoons over the next several minutes and take time. Be mindful. Enjoy all those flavors and textures that you want so badly. Because when I eat my sister's mint brownies, I forget to even taste the ganache on top. And then I'm like, dang, now I need to have another one to taste it. So make sure that you just take one bite and just have a little, savor it. Be mindful, enjoy it, breathe. And ask yourself if continuing in this behavior supports your primary goals. So
and own it. Just always own it. It's a choice, so own it. And you will gain power in that.
I love this quote by Dr. A. The small daily choices we make, driven by the habits we forge over years and years of routine, add up to big rewards or big consequences.
I say a lot too, I got to remember how I word it, but basically, if the exception to the rule becomes the rule, then we have a problem.
Yep.
So, if the exception to the rule is, hey, I had a bite of this, that's one thing. But if the exception to the rule happens every single day, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I just had to have that bite of ice cream 17 times today for the next 2 weeks. Okay, that's a problem, people.
Well, and sometimes we do eat for taste, and that's fine. It's okay to eat for taste sometimes. A lot of times we just eat to fuel our bodies. I mean, if you're doing the 5 and 1, you're learning how to fuel your body, even 3 and 3, whatever program you're doing. you're learning how to fuel your body, and it doesn't really matter what you eat as much, but sometimes every once in a while you do eat for taste, and that's okay. But just be very, very smart with what you choose and know that those choices do add up. So just a few more quick tips before we close. The holidays really, any time of year, any celebrations, they're not really about food and drink. Although people seem to make them that way. Again, what stories are we telling ourselves? We might place emphasis on those things that are in this consumer-driven world we have, but really the holidays are about the people we love. And these are the same people that are likely to drive you to be healthier and more active because you want to have as much time with them as possible. So focus on the conversations with your family members. Play board games with your nieces and nephews. Those are the things you work hard for.
Start new family traditions. I mean, it's never too late to try something new. Instead of having a big family breakfast on 4th of July, go see the balloons or whatever your city does. Go see the parade, right? Instead of eating candy, find ways to serve people. You know, just different things that you can do. Start a new tradition with your immediate family, with your extended family, with your friends, whoever you have. Just spend some time with people. Enjoy the people that are around you, because it's through connection that we ultimately gain the strength we need to break free from our bad habits, our old habits, addictions, and to create new habits that will last forever.
Yep. And some other real quick tips. One of them is practice mindfulness. And that really, there's so many things you can do to practice mindfulness. One of them is just breathe and be grateful for everything you have, and take time to do that every day. Talk to your health coach. There's another plug, please.
Plug.
When you're struggling, you need your health coach. You might be like, I don't want to talk to them. But if you're struggling, that's when you need to go to your health coach. And then create your own healthy community. If you don't live in a healthy community, if your family isn't healthy, create it. Create health in your own family, in your own community. And come be part of ours at convention in Dallas, Texas later this month. Seriously, it's going to be awesome. Amazing. And there's a client track. People can come and learn about these habits of health. All of the stuff we shared with you today was from Dr. A's Habits of Health. And we're so grateful that we had the opportunity to share that with you. Yeah,
come shake Dr. A's hand if you come.
Come shake his hand and learn from him himself.
I know for sure. You guys, we certainly appreciate the time that you spent on here. We've loved sharing a little bit of our notes and things with you. But have a wonderful summer.
Thank you for your patience with us and our children.
Thank you. The crazy life that we live. You guys are awesome. Have a great night.
Thank you.